Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to season 1 of Culturally Irrelevant. I'm Miguel Gonzalez. I'm joined by my best friends and soon to be yours, Brandon West, Will Russell, and David Wright. It is so good to be with you boys. We're starting a new year. We're starting a new podcast, or maybe it's an old podcast. I think we weren't supposed to reference that. I'm sorry. Will, I want to go to you first, bro. How are you feeling up there in the north? We hear it's a little bit chillier than Florida. We always like to rag on
I
it
love
a
it.
little bit.
Don't. I love it up here. I got a foot of snow on the ground. Watch my dog take a dump in the yard and it fall right through. It was absolutely incredible. Yes, and I refused to take him out for like hours before that, just so he could build up, just to see the massive dump that he was going to take, and to see it hit and then like sink into the ground through the snow. Very cool.
Saving up the heat steamers. I like it. Hey, since you're already in the cold weather, are you traveling over to see the inauguration? Because we hear it's going to be cold.
Absolutely not. No.
Not going.
Not. I will not be participating in anything inaugural, and I'm so excited to say that. In fact, hot take of the day, and I'll battle it off with this. Like, when you guys got your jobs, you're doing the work that you're doing now. Did anybody throw a parade when you got your job?
Unfortunately,
other than your parents.
None that I was invited to.
Yeah, exactly. Other than your parents, and you weren't invited to that. That's the kind of mindset that I have for the president. Like, we don't need an inauguration ceremony. We don't need a parade. We don't need a bunch of stupid balls. We hired you to get to work on January 20th. Go to freaking work. Do an address from the Oval Office.
And go.
Yes, exactly.
But what about...
It's so stupid.
What about all the masses that are just so emotionally dependent on the play out of what they're going to watch on their television regarding their selected leader? Like, doesn't that matter?
How many people does that amount to in a country of 330 million people?
I don't know, a few.
A few million? A few million,
know.
we could go hit that in a week's time, hitting all the rally stops. Like,
all right,
it's just not necessary. It's a waste of time. It's a glorification of a human being that we shouldn't objectify and raise up to a higher power than what the president is. The president is an employee of the American people.
I like it. Like, just get to work and go. This is a mind-blowing take, but I like it. It's a little heavy though. Let's go something a little light. David, how you doing over there, bro? I saw something shining on your wrist a little earlier. It was kind of blinding me a little bit. You rocking some new hardware over there, brother?
Yes, it's my WWJD bracelet, which I found on the floor of my gym, and I picked it up, and then I've been wearing it for about a year.
Fantastic.
No, I actually did find it on the floor, and I wear it every day. But apart from that, I don't know what we're talking about. Yeah, look, I mean,
that little Omega looks nice over there, brother.
It's more embarrassing to say how much money I spent because I'm irresponsible with money. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to talk about it, but I'm also super proud of it, and I look at it every day. It's great.
I'm proud of you, brother. Brandon West, what about you, sir? Have you purchased anything interesting recently?
Hold on. I've been waiting for my opportunity to get let in because I have something to say about all these things. First of all, dog poop means a lot to me right now. I had a scare. I thought my dog had intestinal blockage this week. And whenever you're dealing with an 11-year-old dog that might have something blocking its digestive system, you ask some very real questions about, the value of a life.
True.
But did you sign a DNR?
No.
We were talking end of life care. Okay.
We were just looking at him, and he would look at me, and he kept throwing up, and
every time he looked at you, he'd throw up.
No, he didn't have to look at me to throw up. Anyway, I'm not gonna.
Okay.
I was planning on getting more into the details, but now that I think about it, it's not good. But I understand
what it. Okay. Did the blockage come out, or is the blockage still there?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is in the same way that you celebrate your dog's steam snow poop, I celebrated his poop whenever the first one came out after like 48 hours. To where I was like, just seeing thousands of dollars. I don't even have to think about spending. Now. That was sweet. The inauguration, it's a celebration of democracy. It's the office. It's the, the thing that makes America so great is the transition of power.
We don't live in a democracy.
I
don't know who on this stream needs to
talk about it.
It's a democratic
Yes.
republic, but that's not the.
No,
that's
it's a constitutional republic.
But that's
if
not.
you knew anything about history, you would know it's a constitutional republic.
Also, not the point that I was making in the first place, though. It's a celebration of the transition of power.
Facts do not care about your feelings. And
Amen.
The late great Ben Shapiro.
Rest in peace.
Coined that.
Is he late? Oh no.
Late to the
old.
show. He was supposed to be here. But yes, it's a celebration of the office more than the man. So I think there's value there, at least a little bit, right?
And why not just flip everything on its head? Let's take away Will's argument and let's just celebrate every new job. Just everybody gets a party commensurate to whatever the scale of your job is. If your new job is over 20 people, then somebody gets you a card. But if your job is over a few hundred people, like maybe you get a pub sub and a cake,
And Alicia Keys is going to be there no matter what. I don't know.
There you go.
And then
we have the village people. We do have the village
people.
Nothing screams patriotism like standing out in 17-degree weather listening to the village people.
I've never thought about it, but you're probably right.
Yeah.
And then
that makes me proud to be an American.
Yeah, YMCA. And then the watch is beautiful. The funny thing that I was thinking the other day about watches or any expensive hobby, because you were talking about like the price thing, it's that like nobody knows, like 99% of people don't know how much it costs, so that's cool. But like it's like kind of a catch-22 because like you kind of like at the same time want people to realize that like this thing that I have is like a really cool thing, but like you don't know that. But I also don't want you to know that.
You said Catch 182.
No, that's my cover band.
Catch 22.
Yeah, no, I know
you
that.
Said Catch 182.
I didn't catch that. But anyways,
it's all good.
It's an interesting dilemma. And then
it's true because you can't walk around and tell people how much it is, but like you kind of wish they would ask.
You don't want them to think about how much you spent on the thing, but you also don't want them like not to realize that like you're wearing something really sick that like they couldn't just go buy. It's a hard thing.
Yeah, but wait, how awesome of a comeback is that going to be for David when he's in a fight in some public space down the road and he's like turning to the bartender and you see this watch? This watch is worth more than what you'll make in a month. That's a pretty sick burn. That's almost worth the price of the watch.
It's true, but even then too, it's if I talk to the bartender, I could say the same thing about this watch, and they're not gonna know.
So it'd be kind of funny though if the bartender does know and calls you on it.
If I'm getting into a fight with the bartender, I don't think I'm worried about lying at that point. And then I did buy something. I bought a projector for $40. It can project up to
in China,
200 feet, made in China. I got an incredible deal. It was originally like $300 and $40 delivered today. I have it right over there. I'll show it off in the post show for those who stick around. And
that's amazing. So $40 to broadcast video 200 feet to your wall and then broadcast all your personal data thousands of miles back to China. Like that's a bargain of a deal, honestly. No offense to China. I'm not trying to lose their sponsorship or anything, but just trying to be factual.
I give him my data
it's a
to
win-win
China
situation for both of these guys.
Yeah,
exactly.
Brandon.
They paid me far less for my information. So if I get it to I just need to find a 200-foot wall now. But
it's a win-win, but it's also a catch 182. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think
let that go.
I don't think I said that.
You did.
Thankfully, this is a recorded medium.
Wait, are we recording right now?
Yeah.
What?
What's your hit song of Catch 182? Is it like all the big things, not small things? Yes.
I mean, that's
all the big things.
That's a really bad parody, but I can't think of a better one right now. So
yeah, I want to head us off.
I'm on a punk kick right now. So
insulting big bands like Blink 182, who personally Brandon and I got to go see live, and long story short, We bought $20 tickets.
Hey,
and we're sitting behind the
whoa,
stage.
we don't want to.
No.
We don't
We
want to give up our spot.
By a fate, by a stroke of providence, we ended up front row, like a spitting's distance from the band and the edge of the stage, and it was a pretty marvelous experience. So I say all that to say, like, please, let's keep insults to Blink-182 down to a minimum. That's all I'm asking.
That's true. We've taken a lot from them.
Let's talk some serious. Let's talk some serious things. Issues that are near and dear to my heart. Once again, here in Florida, we are sitting around asking ourselves, should we be sports fans? Now, I know that Brandon is going to jump real quick and say, well, we have the Panthers. And, well, that's great. But there's like 12 people that watch the Panthers. They don't even put the games on TVs in most places unless they're in the playoffs. My question is, most of us follow the Dolphins. And I think you, Brandon, as a lifelong fan, you're probably good at giving us the script for what we tell ourselves at the end of yet another losing, fruitless, empty season. As far as I've lived here, 35 years, as far as I can remember, because I can't remember Marino. It's just all been this. Like, is there any place to turn to from here, or do we just commit ourselves to doing this again next year? Help me out.
At this point in the season, is the truth of it is we should just end our lives. Just have it be over with.
Sell the team.
No.
The team.
No, I'm talking
that's a good idea.
Permanent.
Well, look at what the Redskins did.
Team.
No, our owner's great.
He's a piece of. The owner's not edit that out. The Redskins had Dan Snyder for 20 some odd years, they did nothing. The year they sold the team, they had their first playoff win. I don't know.
Well, he's a bad owner in a different way. Well, he
David,
wouldn't spend any money on it.
Would you say that Dan Snyder is the equivalent to a hot, steamy poop that your owner hasn't let you drop for hours that just gets dropped in some fresh snow?
Well, even as a kid, my dad was like, yeah, we got to sell the team. And I was like, that's the first time I learned to hate someone is when I was 12. I was like, I hate Dan Snyder. That's how passionate sports can make you feel. You know what I mean? Just because you like it.
And Dan Snyder was base, though. Like, love him or hate him, like, he was one of the ones that was committed. He was pot committed to the Redskins. The new Commanders, like, they're very... They're winning right now, but I feel like that it could all crumble. Like, and when because you're not built on a solid foundation. Dan Snyder didn't build a whole lot. Didn't build a whole lot, but he was based. He was like, no, we're committed based? To the.
He said, "I will never change the name from Redskins." What did he do a year later? Homeboy changed the name. Yeah, so wasn't he
relatively forced to though? If I remember that correctly, wasn't it?
He was Jewish. Yeah. What was the question?
The question was.
I thought that was your Steve Ross thing.
Our listeners out there who are Jewish.
I'm Jewish.
To our Chinese listeners and our Jewish listeners, we're sorry. The question was, wasn't Snyder forced to sell the team, or am I misremembering that? I mean, not sorry.
Oh, no, he was.
He was to change the name. Sorry, wasn't he forced to change the name?
No,
he owns the team.
But he was forced to sell the team, wasn't he? After the
from sexual assault allegations.
No, it was whenever he was letting big money team people go watch the cheerleaders photo shoot in the Bahamas or whatever.
Oh, that's right.
He was pressured. He was pressured to
do that.
It was like all the other owners leaning on him to sell the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
And then
we won our first playoff game in 20 years.
And then the stadium fell on Jalen Hurts. I guess nobody else saw that.
So are you rapidly following the Commanders this postseason, David, or is it just a
I mean, I'm very excited. I have some Redskins memorabilia. They're moving to old RFK. They're going to tear that down, build a new stadium. It's great. Thank you, Congress. Okay. Congress, look it up.
So you have memorabilia.
Thank you, Will.
I mean, would you travel to a Super Bowl game if they made it?
No, I'm not rich. I mean, I'm not going to sell my watch. To get a Super Bowl.
Sell your watch.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it at my parents' house in Boca, and we'll have a nice glass of tea and some cheesecake. It'll be great. But no, I'm not going to go.
I like that. I mean, the only other South Florida sports news that I've been sitting on is just kind of I cut my teeth in early college years on LeBron James, and so I kind of had a lot of emotional attachment to the Heat. And ever since he left, it's just been misery after misery. And watching this last drama play out with Jason Butler, who's their star player, but he's doing the typical like trying to use the stardom and leverage it against the ownership, and just watching how that plays out. It just kind of what did I call
Jason Butler?
No, I didn't say Jason Butler.
She did.
I love how we say things on the podcast and then we go, I didn't say that.
I didn't say
I
182.
I don't want to be proud like Brandon. That was a mistake.
said
And I
one.
own it.
Jason
I
Butler.
didn't. We'll go back.
Jimmy.
Yeah, how bad are the Heat that they're starting a guy named Jason Butler?
Fair point. I'm just disappointed at the entire scene
Okay.
down here. It just feels like I don't know. I don't really have nothing to hang in my hand on. I'm trying to become a Panthers fan. I'm trying.
You
but-
should. You should be.
At least you're not the New York Jets.
You know,
I feel
Miguel's
like
a
at
closet
some
Jets
point
fan.
it becomes their brand, and it's fine. I don't want it to become the Dolphins brand though.
being bad at sports.
It's been 20 years, dude. If it's not our brand now, when will it be our brand?
Okay, all right, that's fair. That's fair. Maybe we just abandon them entirely.
You should give other sports a chance, though, Miguel. You should give other sports a chance. I watch darts. I watch all types of sports. Don't just NBA, NFL. There's other things out there.
Yeah, NBA, NFL for sure. I watch soccer when it's hot. I watch F1 when it's hot. But darts? Like you're watching darts on TV?
No, on YouTube. The YouTube highlights.
Okay, I mean if it's a highlight reel, I guess that makes it a little less
It can be
wonderful.
kind of electric.
Not to offend any of our dart aficionados, but
Can we do one episode without offending most of our?
It's
our
all
viewers?
these eggshells around here, man. My gosh.
Well, Miguel was like, first of all, I don't like Panthers fans. They just won the championship. You're not a real sport. And then Brandon West is over here dissing Blink 182 in front
I don't
of everyone.
think I said they weren't a real sport.
Huge. You said they had 12 fans. That's two huge fan bases that we've just debased within the first 10 minutes of our podcast. Let me check the watch. First 15 minutes of the podcast.
Okay, so maybe off to a slower start than we told, but that's all right. You know what? Let's navigate away from sports. Maybe sports is the downfall. Let's do some. I don't know. Let's do some news. What's been bugging your brains these days? What you've been watching? What have you been arguing about?
I think the biggest thing, and I would love to hear all of your opinions on this, is what's going on in Los Angeles right now.
Kind of wild. Anybody have any connections to anybody in Los Angeles? I don't know anybody that lives out there, so I haven't really heard any inside scoopage.
No.
Okay, I do.
Ah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We've just been waiting for you to say something.
There's fire out there.
Oh God.
Yeah. The stories are true.
Is your cousin the fire?
No.
Is your cousin the fire?
He's not the fire, but
Not
he did.
related to the fire at
He
all?
did meet the fire a few months ago. Could have stopped him.
Had an
It's
opportunity to top
it's
him
a
down.
shame that Smokey the Bear didn't have enough power to prevent this because, it happened and
Should've
Smokey didn't
unionized.
stop it.
Yeah.
Slacking on the job. Fire Smokey, hire a new bear, and do not give him an inauguration parade because that was probably what happened to Smokey. Yeah,
There you go.
I've been kind of wigged out about it. I'm pretty confident that I still choose hurricanes over wildfires. They kind of both seem destructive, but at least hurricanes are predictable. But I've also just been consuming so many different variants of what it could be. And it kind of feels like that's been the last couple years now on the internet. Every time something happens, there's 3 or 4 prevailing theories, each one more intriguing than the last, each one darker than the last. And I end up thinking like, all right, I'm just going to care about the people that are getting hurt. But then 6 days later, even like now, like nobody's been talking about it the last couple days. It just kind of faded off the radar. There was no conclusion.
Fires?
I haven't heard. Yeah, it's like what's
No.
new? They're still
It's-
burning and it's still encroaching, and
Yeah.
nothing's getting better and nothing's
We're
happening.
still talking about it.
A lot of talk.
Yeah.
First of all, let me just stop the conversation here and say to the three of you, to include you, Miguel, you should never worry about forest fires in South Florida. It is so wet outside all the time that a campfire couldn't keep going. Like, don't worry about that. The problem right now with the fires in California, we can talk about how we arrived, how we got here, or we can talk about what's going on now. Because there are two separate issues. One is a lack of forest management that led to a fire like this. The other is a workforce problem that led to the poor response, and now we're having to pull out legitimately international firefighters coming into the United States, into Los Angeles, to try to put out these fires, to the tune of, I want to say like there are 5,000 firefighters now on the ground fighting fires, which is just a incredible number. And the fact is, like, they don't do anything. I think the most telling portion of this entire episode, if we're going to take all of the events that have happened in the Los Angeles area surrounding these fires, compound them into one comment. It's when Gavin Newsom was standing beside his limousine, about to get in his car to go wherever he's going. Smoke all around him, active fires around him, like on camera. And he's trying to tell the citizen who's asking him, Governor, you're the governor of a state. Your jurisdiction is throughout all of California, not just some of California. Why are the fire hydrants empty? Why is there no water coming out of the fire hydrants? And he's like trying to say, oh, I'm about to take a call from the president of the United States. Like, we're going to get this figured out. And it's just so out of touch with the average person, the average people that still live in California. Unfortunately, most of the people, like, because the fires are where they are, a lot of the attention is being thrown to like the Julia Roberts of the world, and Adam Carolla is another one that I've seen. But there's like all of these different stars that are like crying and beating their chests and gnashing their teeth that one of their 5 houses is maybe not even burned down, just a threat of being burned down. The regular people out here that are being impacted, that one, they just lost everything that they had. Two, thanks to the politicians in Sacramento, most of the insurance companies have all pulled out of California. Nobody can get fire insurance. So not only have they lost everything, there's nobody who's going to come behind them and give them money to help rebuild their lives, which is soul crushing.
That's what I'm referring to when I say they're not talking about it. Like, I'm seeing all the headlines of this celebrity lost their house, and what do they have to say? And this celebrity is joining the food line to help serve lunches. Like, okay, I'm not attacking you. I get that you want to do something good, and if you end up in a headline, maybe that's your choice, maybe it's not, whatever. I just feel like it's the dirt level happenings is what I'm not hearing anything about. And so our entire neighborhood's wiped out, our school's wiped out. What are parents with kids doing? Are these people moving out of the state? Are they moving to other cities? Like, are funds being set up? Like, what's going on? All I hear is, celebrity house burned down. Like you said, 1 of 5, but then they make it a big deal. And I don't know. I feel like I'm missing out a lot of important stuff.
For me, the biggest thing is it's the hypocrisy of I'm not responsible, but then I'm the governor, I'm the mayor, right? So you are responsible. And the lies. Oh, no, the reservoirs were full. The fire hydrants worked. They didn't work. That's the biggest thing for me. If our leaders are incapable of doing their job, they should be removed. They should resign. They should be, recalled. And what we're seeing with Gavin, great name, by the way, and Karen Bass, they've failed the people that they govern, and they should be removed.
Yeah, one of the striking factors of the whole thing is if Canada has to send planes to fight fires for you because you didn't have the planes because you were trying to be climate conscious and you were more climate conscious than Canada, just feels like you overdid it and now people are dying. For what? Like, who sat in a meeting and said, no, we don't need those planes?
Another reason why Canada should be the 51st state. I think that's a
I am
wonderful
all
point, Miguel.
about
Thank you.
this theory. I am
Let's get
all
into
about
it.
this theory.
Come on.
I'm like,
Let's
sign up all the states: Greenland, Canada, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, because that's where I'm from. I'm like, anybody, this will all be Americans. It sounds like it could be the New World Order, but it also sounds like it could be kind of fun.
I also want to take a swim in the Gulf of America.
Dude,
Yes,
come on now.
I'm fine with that one.
The America Canal.
I love how people on X go. They were criticizing Trump for saying Gulf of America. They go, you wanted grocery prices lowered, and he's focusing on things like vanity projects. You can do two things at once. You can, fix the economy and bring in good policy to govern Americans, and then also simultaneously take over the Panama Canal. You know what I mean? Like it's not hard to do multiple things at once.
Probably bringing down grocery prices.
I don't know. I don't know the economics behind it, but yeah, maybe.
I don't know canals that well, but yeah.
It also kind of feels cool that when the whole world, not the whole world, that's a generalization. When some other countries like China and Taiwan, Russia and Ukraine, like other big powers are making moves to actually conquer land. And maybe this is a bad reaction, but I kind of like that the leader of the free world, who, by the way, is not engaged in active land conquering, and probably our country is viewed as like, we're not going to do that. For him to just kind of tickle the idea out there, like, there's a few spots we could take over, we could rename, we could do some stuff with that. I don't know. It just makes you feel like, let's let everybody remember that we're here. We're just choosing to be mature, like others are not. But
he's also, you have to remember,
yes, lean into this feeling.
You have to remember that he's not even the leader of the free world right now. Like he's not even president yet.
True.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. But
go ahead, Wes. Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to ask. So all the firefighters are coming over. You mentioned 5,000 firefighters are coming from around the world to help fight the fires. If there's no water, what are they fighting the fires with?
Sticks.
Paper plates.
Just boxing them.
We both said sticks.
With their fists.
All right.
Fist of fury.
It's a genuine question.
I just thought it was worth asking. Could be anything.
They're yelling at the fire. They're scolding the fire.
Yeah. Also, so I don't know if you want Canada to be a 51st state.
No?
Not most of it. No. Because you also
it's a lot of land that we can, I guess we can travel there pretty freely now anyway, so.
It's also a lot of people that kind of hate you.
It's not that many people, though.
I think the plan is we want to take over Canada except for French Quebec. We can leave them as their own place. Not interested. I don't think.
What do we have against the FQ?
Oh, they speak French.
Look it up. Yeah. They're widely hated by everyone.
I mean, come on.
Talk about those eggshells.
No, I'm okay with the French.
We can piss off the French. It's okay.
It's just a fun rapport we have with the whole country. A little back and forth.
I would like to talk to Miguel about, you mentioned multiple countries. You said China, Taiwan. Are you on the record saying that Taiwan isn't owned by China?
I'm on the record saying that Taiwan is an independent country who chooses to
No. How do I mute this?
They choose otherwise, or China chooses otherwise. I'm on the record, baby.
No, I agree. I agree.
Hashtag free. Taiwan's already free.
It was
Hashtag.
fun.
No,
I mean, I do agree.
The recording was muted for the last 5 seconds.
Nah, Trump just texted me. He said he liked that.
He has so many ad dollars. So many potential ad dollars.
Down the drain just now? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, dude. Why do you think LeBron is a billionaire?
Oh, man, I remember when that happened a couple years ago.
It's not as business savvy, dude.
All right. Well, business savvy aside, I got something here on my sheet that I know nothing about. And so I'm hoping that one of you will educate me on what is going on with Pete Hegseth and his confirmation or lack thereof.
What a guy. What a strong, great guy. You know
Can I ask a question? Is this a safe space? Can I ask a question?
Sure.
circle of friends, just us right here. Who
Just
is
us
Peter
and the
Hegseth?
millions of listeners.
Right
is
now, we're
Peter
actually
Hegseth?
a rectangle.
Who is he?
Yes.
I think he's just like a Fox News guy. That's it. He hasn't done anything else.
Well, he served his country.
No, just Fox News. He's just
okay.
He's a Fox fella, and he's going to be our new Sec Def.
He's a
Very
Fox.
hype.
He's a Fox and friend.
Confirmed he is going to be our new Secretary of Defense?
No, he's going through it right now.
He's well on his way.
No. After today, he is.
Yeah, he'll make it. He's good.
Mm-hmm.
I think he crushed it today, honestly.
And we like Hegseth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
think
a-
he won
I
Now,
think-
you guys.
Well, he's an outsider. It's the whole idea to where he doesn't have all the traditional credentials, but the guys with the traditional credentials over the past, 4 decades are the ones that got us to where we are now. So those credentials, whatever the check boxes that we're looking for, I don't know if those are the ones we want. Maybe we want the Fox News personality. We'll try
So
something.
that was going to be that was going to be the question that I would have asked if I were Pete today in the Senate confirmation hearing. All of these senators who are like attacking ad hominem attacks against me, my personal, not me and my professional. My question to them would be, okay, so you guys just confirmed 4 years ago Lloyd Austin, or whenever it was, and the U.S. military had a string of just awful experiences over the past 4 years during the Biden administration. Like, do you obviously felt like he was qualified? Is this what success looks like to you? Like, do you think that him being SecDef, you see, Afghanis falling off plane, our C-17s taken off from Bagram? Like, is that what success looks like to you? Because you got a guy who just fit all of the mold that you're trying to pour a Secretary of Defense into, and that happened. Not to mention all of the different conflicts that are around the world right now, the proxy conflicts and the conflicts that we, the United States, are directly engaged in. Like, is that what you want? Because, like, I can withdraw my nomination right now if you're looking for a guy like that. You didn't say something like that, but that's what I would have said. It's just like the hypocrisy that exists here is like, let's try something different than what you've done for the past, 30 years.
My favorite thing about... go ahead and go. After you.
No, you, bro.
My favorite thing about the hearings today was Senator Mullen saying, I looked up what are the qualifications. All of you other senators are saying, Pete, you're not qualified. I looked up the qualifications of, to be Secretary of Defense. You have to be a civilian. That's it.
Mm.
So that was pretty, all these
A low bar.
all these morons. By the way, the people in the Senate. So, Will, I love you, but you worked, you work for the House, you work for the Senate, you work for the executive branch. I hate all those people. They're the worst people of all time on both sides. Let's be honest.
You're not
Yeah,
offending
and
me.
he nods with a thumbs up.
Yeah, that's the best.
Except
But,
for
you're
You're
Animal.
not offending me at all. They are all the worst. Yes.
They all truly are, and there's grandstanding. But I think the hearings were fascinating today, though, and I really enjoyed watching them. And I hope Pete gets confirmed.
Yeah, and
David, you didn't talk. David, tell us more about what Mark Wayne said. Senator Mullen, there was a couple of really good sound bites in there
spoke for
that
like
I think
7
we
minutes.
should note the really good ones when he turned on his own colleagues in the Senate.
Do you want to do it? You can do it. I can do it.
all right, Miguel,
That's all you, baby.
play clip
Yeah,
one.
I was going to say, in future episodes of the podcast, when China gets over their angst about me talking about Taiwan and they decide to give us their full sponsorship dollars, we will be able to show these sound bites ready to go on our broadcast. But educate us, for those of us that never, absolutely ever watch any political live streams that's going on during business hours. Fill us in on some of these sound bites.
Well, first of all, C-SPAN rules, and people who don't watch it should watch it. I
Nerd.
actually got to tour. I toured C-SPAN 7 years ago. Great place.
Oh, that's
But
Sick flex, dude.
It's a cool play.
I mean, it's a classic catch 182. But
I didn't say that.
Senator Mullen, he talked about the hypocrisy of these senators who aren't qualified. criticizing this nominee. He talked about the hypocrisy of these senators accusing this nominee of cheating on his wife, who probably have been accused of infidelity and cheated on their own spouses. What was the other one, Will? It was another one.
He's drunk. He's being accused that Pete Hegseth is a drunk, and he turns to his colleagues and he's like, "You're telling me that none of y'all have been drunk on the floor of the Senate to vote in some of our late night votes? And if you're saying that no, that's never happened, you're lying because I know you were drunk."
See, David, I told you some of them are cool.
What?
I said I told you some of them are cool.
Yeah, exactly. They know how to party. Yeah. Senate's always known how to party. Anyway, I thought that was a beautiful takedown of the aristocrats that sit over in the Senate. Mm-hmm. Like, you want to talk about, so there's two different kinds of like grandstanding that David's talking about. There's like the grandstanding that the House does, and the House is just pure chaos all the time. There's like people thumping their chests over like, goldfish in a stream in some some remote location, so you can't build a bridge over it. Like, that's the kind of grandstanding that happens over in the House. And then on the Senate, like, they're so high in their ivory tower, like it's got to be below freezing up there. And they're so high up. The altitude sickness hits in because that's the kind of grandstanding they do there. Like, you can't, how dare you, uncouth rube Pete Hegseth, come into our chambers and ask to be the Secretary of Defense. Like, yeah. Grandstanding. Either way you cut it, it is disgusting. Both ways you cut it.
Certainly. And I think the truth of the matter is not his credentials. It has nothing to do with his credentials. If he had the same exact credentials and was willing to come in and carry on the status quo of what's been, there would never be a question as to whether or not he should be confirmed. The problem is what he's threatening to do and what he has, the changes that he has suggested, even long before he was ever being considered for the Secretary of Defense position. But whenever he's talking about, the DEI problem that's happening in our military, that's half of the sitting generals at the moment are kind of, clutching their seat, hoping that, they can make it through what's about to happen. And even just I don't know, a nice way to say it, but like the state of the military right now, I heard an interesting thing that somebody told me just today. And let's see if anybody can guess. To pass basic training in our military today, how quickly do you think on a 2-mile run, what do you need to average per mile?
2 miles?
15? Per mile?
Yeah.
I feel like you could walk a mile in 15 minutes.
50. I do walk 15-minute miles. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. No, the military's got to be averaging like 6-minute miles or 5-minute miles or something like that. Mid single digits.
To be permitted into our military to pass basic training right now, you need to be able to run an 11-minute mile.
11 minutes.
11 minutes. And I'm not saying that right now I could get up off the couch and run an 11-minute mile. But the thing that's frightening is that, like, I'm not far off from being service ready. Like, you give me like 2 weeks and I can get there. And I don't like the thought of that.
You're sitting there waiting for your phone to ring. Like, Mr. Military Man, call me.
I literally, my legs haven't moved in a running motion in about 6 months, but you give me 3 weeks and I could pass at least that standard for basic training.
I don't know, man.
Awful.
Maybe you couldn't get off your couch right now and run 2, but I'm pretty confident you could get off your couch right now and run a mile in less than 11 minutes. You'd only have to run for like a half of it.
I could do.
What if you sprint a 6:30 and then you walk a 13? That averages 11. Right?
That'd be
exactly.
Pass.
Pass. Okay, so that's not that hard.
Call us up, Marines. The 4 of us right here. We can slap a couple miles
it's
together.
It's called military readiness. It's military readiness. Like, how prepared are our men and women, servicemen and women, to go into combat right now? And I'd venture to say that because of the lowered standards,
right?
Sure, they're ready. They may be mentally ready, but they're not physically ready to withstand the mountainous terrain or the deserts.
But if you lower the standards,
this feels like a major generalization. Are you telling me that our armed forces aren't training all the time and like that's their job? They get paid, right? And they have requirements. They got to show up and do stuff. Like
I'm sure many of them are, but the point is that there needs to be some kind of standard, right? I guess on paper, what's cool is they can say 75% of able-bodied adults are technically like military ready, which might. But whenever you dig into those numbers a little bit and understand what military ready actually means in this context, it's less impressive. Right. Still have the greatest military.
You're constantly training all the time to meet a very, very low bar.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay.
Great.
I mean, should we talk about how physical armed forces are probably not going to be used in the next war anyways? So what's the point?
It's not true. It's not true.
Not true.
Mm-mm. There's always going to be a need for boots on the ground. There are things that the human can do that AI, that a drone, that technology can never do. It's also judgment. You sound like a
boomer right now. No, you might need people on the ground to do some administrative things. You want to trust a robot with running some live resource management, but like we're watching it right now. The country that's throwing most of their bodies into active offense are doing so in a way that's killing them because the warfare has changed so quickly that now your boots on the ground that's not what's effective. And this is a small scale for the first time because this hasn't really happened globally. I feel like after watching this for 2-3 years, all these other big countries have now learned and beefed up, and I don't feel like the next big conflict is fought with boots on the ground.
But it has to be.
Go ahead, Brendan.
Well, I was just saying, I mean, at some level it has to be because, I mean, what is the point of a war? You go to war to win the war, and you're not going to win a war, or rather on the other side, no country is going to cede a war because too many of their robots got mowed over.
Hold on, look up France.
There's truth to that.
Look up France. France loves to surrender. You can look that up. It's historical.
That's true. We're fine. We can dig back in on the French.
These guys suck.
I had a great joke. How do you sink a French ship?
With a croissant.
Put it in water. There we go.
My favorite French thing right now is a headline I read recently that Macron, I don't know how to say his name, the France's prime minister Macron came out and said Europe will not support any attacks on its territory after Trump threatens violence over Greenland. It's like, yo, relax, Frenchie.
Let's go take France.
It's the Netherlands.
Ooh, that'd be fire.
France.
Could you imagine the Eiffel Tower with the United States flag on the top?
Just to speak to how
the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
People don't like Americans. I've been twice, and both times when we were doing touristy spots.
Yeah, but have you been to the C-SPAN headquarters?
No. I've been to that tower twice. I've never seen it. Whenever I went up to like the hot dog stands and stuff out in the parks and in the touristy areas, I always put on a fake British accent because I felt like I got more charm from people than just talking to them like American.
They knew you're an American, 100%.
So you're underestimating the power of a good accent. So just watch yourself. Just watch yourself.
Just have somebody join.
Just watch yourself.
The ever relevant Cockney accent in 2024, 2025.
Wait, who joined?
It sounded like a British guy just joined.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we're talking about the military.
Who is that? You?
I'm glad we're talking about the military because it's time for an ad break. This is brought to you by Raytheon, our number one supporter.
It's true.
Dude, if we were
Raytheon is good.
They make the best stuff.
We were sponsored by Raytheon.
Is that their tagline? Raytheon, we're good.
We're very good. But,
right. Go at Raytheon.com. Use our promo code irrelevant.
Idiots.
For
idiots.
For 5% off your next purchase of
missiles,
war grade artillery.
Wait, who was it? Was it Shapiro and someone else were signing missiles in Pennsylvania during the election?
Yeah.
What was that?
I mean, it was kind of cool.
BB.
That's like the coolest thing he's done, honestly.
That's wild, though. I've been watching this documentary, not documentary. It's like a scripted show called Manhunter. First season was about the Unabomber. The second season was about the Olympic Park bomber. And something crazy about the Olympic Park bomber is they finally arrest this guy. He's been running around for years evading everybody. They finally arrest him. They got him in holding. And all these police officers and FBI agents are lining up with wanted posters to get this guy to sign the posters for him. And you're sitting there looking like, you're law enforcement. I would assume that people that get put in law enforcement roles are capable of turning off the side of them that wants to worship a serial killer. It was wild. It was wild to watch that.
I don't know if he's technically a serial killer, but I appreciate what you're saying.
A serial bomber, sure.
Yeah. No,
let's talk about the fabulous looking man who killed that healthcare executive.
I kill nobody.
Yeah.
Oh
no, the one in New York a couple of weeks ago.
Oh,
the CEO of United. Oh, was it United Healthcare?
Yeah, that one hit close to home.
And now he has a cult following.
Yeah,
that's another
the killer does.
Luigi.
That's another story that I feel like died down pretty quickly. Also, but I will go on record right now saying I do not believe that the guy they caught is the guy that did it. I said it.
I agree.
What?
100%. 100%. It happened way too fast because, and I think they, if I have to give them credit, I would give them credit because I would assume the reason is you assume that there's so many crazy people out there that are going to start thinking if he can get away with it, then we can. And you get a bunch of copycats and you think, man, we got to get something on the books quick so that people realize like, no, don't mess around. But honestly, I do not think that's the guy.
I don't think it is.
He's pretty deranged. He's a pretty messed up dude. He's psychotic. So
the dude they caught?
Listen.
Yes. Checks out.
Of all the conspiracy theories, and I am a huge conspiracy theorist. I mean, bought and paid for.
Flat Earth.
I can't get behind that one. I feel like that guy was so deranged and such an idiot that he did walk into a McDonald's and was like caught right there because he wanted some nugs.
Do you want to know why I know? Because he wanted some nugs.
That's just too stupid of a mistake to make after you carried out the most ridiculous assassination in public where nobody could find you, and then suddenly they find you in McDonald's. Come on, guys, that's too easy.
A McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, where a cashier looked over and was like, "That guy on a laptop seems suspicious." I recognize him. You go to any McDonald's and there's 4 homeless people somehow with laptops sitting there on the internet doing whatever they're doing, and they don't look suspicious. They never have the cops called on them. But this one guy, this like pretty normal looking guy walks in and they're like, wait a second. It makes a lot of sense that this guy would be in a town 5 hours away from New York City 2 days later with a laptop. That's crazy.
So you're on Team Miggy here.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay.
It's the right side versus the left side.
It makes
Unless
no
you're
sense.
watching this on stream and it's flipped, then it's the left side versus the right side.
No, I think we're all in the
or the top versus the bottom. Wait, it doesn't matter.
We're live streaming on Neopets, right? Or are we on Habbo Hotel?
No, this is Club Penguin.
We're live streaming on the Pokemon trading card game.
I don't know.
They don't have released that feature yet.
How many people in the Netherlands are watching us right now?
In the Netherlands?
Right now it says 2. I thought we weren't supposed to
name dropped.
I thought we weren't supposed to reference Twitch.
We're not supposed to do a lot of things, but we do it regardless.
Okay. Well, our good friend Ryan Collins is watching on Twitch right now, and
let's go, Ryan. You're a real one, buddy. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you, and we love you.
He said, "Hey, since we're allowed to do this real quick, if we're not going to make a habit, but he did say with woke mental standards, I would argue that they aren't mentally ready at command level. Speaking of those in the military." And
okay. So let's do a little Twitch chat.
Which he's right. Well, it's the only one.
It's just Ryan. Ryan is the only one with VIP powers to come into the chat. And
we make him a mod? He's a mod.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm mod him up.
Thanks, guy. Don't hate me just because of the way I look. Hate me because the things I say.
Yeah, the way he is.
I gotta check my viewer list before I say what I want to say.
Yeah.
Do you have names of viewers in front of you, Brandon?
It's just Ryan, dude. Yeah.
What
do you think it says?
I can imagine a list of people that we know that are going to be a little bit jealous that he got a shout out. So it just makes me a little happier about it. That's all I wanted to say.
Shout out.
Nobody else.
Shout out to Rob Canoli.
Shout out to Rob Canoli. He's going to be listening to this on the drive time tomorrow morning.
I don't know. Just to close the thread on the insurance CEO assassination. I'm open to more information and being proved that it being proven that that's the guy. But right now, I'm major suspect.
As somebody that works actively in insurance, I'm scared for my life every single day. So I told you I appreciate
security, but I don't think it's your occupation that should have you scared.
All right. I wish if there's something
driving habits.
My driving habits.
You're a bad driver, Wes?
No, I don't think so.
Is this true?
Most of the time, I don't even drive my own car.
What an aristocrat! You are what's wrong with America. What an aristocratic thing to say.
Thank you.
You have a Tesla, so it drives yourself, right? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Whoa! That's actually weird, though. I've known you for quite a bit of time, and I've never heard you talk about your Tesla.
Really?
No, he's very humble like that.
You're not a normal Tesla driver, because most people talk. They won't shut up about it. They go, "I got a Tesla." And
kidding?
Elon Musk picture on my phone.
Brandon doesn't talk about his Tesla. He won't shut up about his shoes, but he doesn't talk about his Tesla.
I don't talk about my car.
Florida. We were walking out of an establishment.
Publix.
And Publix. We were walking out with Publix, and he was like,
me and Will went grocery shopping together.
And he summoned his vehicle to us. It's like just from his phone. And the door opened and said, "Welcome, Mr. West." And it was very weird. I was just like, was it
Mr. West is in the building?
They started saying that was they played my alarm song. "Wake up, Mr. West, Mr. West."
Horrible.
I know. Do we have time for one more thing, or do we have to move on?
We got time for anything you want. Give it to us.
I'm trying to think now with that freedom. I'll start with this. Did you all see the Wesley Huff interview with Joe Rogan a couple days ago?
Just finished it a couple days ago.
Did you?
Fantastic content.
One of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life and what's actually going on. I'm somebody who, to preface, I'm not a big apologetics guy. I'm just not. I think most of the time it's non-experts kind of like cherry picking fun pieces of trivia for the sake of, battling out, in just purely these debate formats, which I don't think is all that useful in the first place. But what was really cool is this guy goes on Joe Rogan, who's actually an expert. I mean, he's, an expert on ancient texts and ancient language and, the original New Testament, pieces of papyrus that he's, studied. So he knows all these things, and he's able to come at the apologetics issue with authority, a firsthand authority, versus having to, hate to the Lee Strobels of the Christian world. I think, it's been very helpful to a lot of people. But his whole premise is coming as a secondhand source from cool things that he's researched, that he's heard from experts in one field or another. But what's so cool about this guy is he's actually able to speak to it directly, where he can hold these ancient manuscripts and look at them and read them and compare them, and he knows what's going on, and he's able to answer these questions in a really, really incredible way. And sorry, were you going to say something?
No, if you're wrapped up, I just want to plug him on Instagram. I want to say, if you're a believer, you don't even have to be someone that, I need ammunition to argue. For me personally, it has been such an eye-opening faith booster to hear somebody outline exactly why this isn't just it. Following Jesus is primarily faith. So I just want to say that up front so nobody, gets the wrong idea. But it's not just the caricature that we find in media where you're just eyes closed and just blindly believing some hocus pocus. It is historically founded, it is archaeologically founded. And just to hear him do stuff, if you're on Instagram, you follow Wesley, WESLEY _Huff, HUFF. And he posts every day, he'll just post this little snapshot of a manuscript that's 1,600, 1,800 years old, and he ties it together. He'll post an Old Testament manuscript that's more than 2,000 years old, and suddenly it brings everything forward to where you are and shows you how real and old and established and protected the Word of God is. And it's just he's a really cool guy. He just came up on my radar with the Joe Rogan episode. I had no idea who he was, and I've just been following him nonstop, looking through all of his posts. He's got great content, super educational. And I don't know. I just want to promote the guy. Wesley_Huff. It's some incredible apologetics work. And like you were saying, Brandon, it's not even in the context of let me go listen to some guy yell at another guy. It's just him sharing stuff that he's interested in, that he's studied, and that he's actually a virtuoso in, but it's something that interests him, that he's sought out and he's deep into. It's really cool content. A really good guy.
Did you catch the context of what got him on the Joe Rogan show in the first place?
I hadn't followed it, but from what the wrap up that they were doing about it was, he seemed to have had some debate with some other guy who was really showy about losing the debate, and so that's how he got on Joe Rogan's radar, because I guess Rogan was interested.
Yeah, it's this guy. Shoot, his name just escaped me. His name's Billy.
Billy Corbin is the only Billy I know. It's not that one.
No.
Eichner.
No, it should. Yeah, no, it should come back to me with
Billy Bean. Billy Bean.
No,
Yeah, Moneyball. We should talk about Moneyball.
It's
All right.
Billy Carson. That's his name.
Billy
That's
Carson,
exactly
that's
what
correct.
his name
Ben Carson's brother.
is. Yeah, well, you might know him.
I actually do, yeah.
So this guy, his whole shtick is he talks about these, fringe, kind of faux biblical, kind of like they don't want you to know about blah 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 kind of thing as it relates to scripture. And he references all these extra biblical, the kind of stuff that was all tossed out, whenever everything was being canonized. And so he goes on this podcast with Wesley Huff, and he just everything that he's based his entire premise on. And just to be clear, like the premise is like it's garnered a lot of fame for him. I mean, he's been on the Patrick Bet-David show talking about this stuff, with millions of people. And I mean, Joe Rogan, I think he's been on Joe Rogan. So he goes on the show to talk about, with Wesley Huff, these things and kind of ask him these questions. And then Wesley Huff comes at it where he's like just a systematic kind of, deconstruction of everything that he's ever kind of propped his entire life on as the expert in all these things, to where he's like, you realize, ancient text scholars know that like, hey, like this thing that you're referencing is a known forgery that came out of like, the 13th century France. This thing over here, we know is, has a million contradictions, and nobody that's researched this stuff for 5 minutes acknowledges it to be anything close, just because there's so many things that we can't account for. So basically, I mean, I'm sure this guy will have some kind of a career, but served as a serious speed bump for, all of his stuff going forward. So that's why Joe Rogan, I think, brought him on in the first place, was to be like, so you just kind of like blew everybody's minds, all these people that were looking for all these like extra things, and brought it back to us like, no, there's, a reason why we have the 66 books that we do. There's a reason why the New Testament is constructed in the way that it is, and it's in a way that is, concrete, and in a way that we can, put a lot of trust in. And, this isn't just, it's not people that got in a room and just started voting. This is, it's stable. So it was cool. And, I could go on, if anybody is listening to this, I would encourage you to just instead watch the podcast, but especially whenever he gets into the stuff with like the
Ryan, as you listen to this,
I would encourage you to watch the podcast. But like he gets into like the historical Jesus stuff, and it's just, I mean, it's freaking mind blowing. It changes the way that I see, all of it. And, it's like, it's not The Chosen. Like it's much, it's much more gritty and raw.
I'm fine with the long list of people we're going to offend, but I don't want to put Chosen on that list just yet.
I'll put Chosen on that list.
We gotta have some long form discussion before we trash Chosen.
All right, we'll do that next episode.
I also think we're running out of time for our own long form discussion. I just want to put a pin in that by saying, as someone who's been listening to Rogan probably 95% of the episodes for the last 5-6 years, I'm starting to get the vibe that he might be a closet Christian.
He's not
Catholic.
Right, he's not.
His wife is a Catholic.
No.
Go ahead, Will.
This can be teased out for our next episode. I think that there needs to be a real conversation around cultural Christians versus like actual Christians.
Yeah.
That are here in the world today and operating, versus Christian nationalists. It's a real conversation of like who fits in what bucket is right, what bucket is wrong. From a Christian's standpoint, because I think there's a dangerous line that guys like Joe Rogan, guys like Elon Musk, and we've got a laundry list of people who are calling themselves cultural Christian. There's nothing Christian about them. They just simply believe in some moral absolutes.
If it's not just a buzzword.
Right, but that doesn't get you to heaven, right? Being a cultural Christian. And there needs to be, because that's going to be, it's already this way, but that's going to be continually become a phrase that mainstream is going to use. And they're going to use that as an attack line as well. And so one of the issues and one of the reasons why I bring something like this up is for our listeners who are in the everyday world, who are operating. They do the same thing with Christian nationalism, right? Christian nationalist, the antithesis of a Christian nationalist is a secular globalist. Are any of us here on this phone, on this pod, secular globalists?
No.
Are we Christian? Yes. Do we believe in the nationalist policies that make America great? Yeah, we're Christian nationalists. It doesn't mean that we're all. I have hair on my head. We're not all skinheads. We're not all like some sort of the idea of nationalism today has been the media has usurped what the original intent was. That is, original intent being, this is America. This is your country, your home country. Ours is America. This is the United States first, above any other country. And so, yeah, like, and this ties back into our earlier conversation when we were talking about Pete Hegseth. Like, that was one of the accusations is that he's some sort of evil person because he calls himself a Christian nationalist. That's a tagline that we need to learn how to manage and almost embrace. A lot of you guys are familiar with the work of Vodi Bakum. I had a chance to spend some time with him last year for an extended period of time, and that was one of the topics that we talked about. That's coming from an African American, right? This is a guy who is who looks at Christian nationalism and says, "Yeah, I'm a part of that. Like, what else would I be? I'm not a Christian globalist. I'm definitely a Christian." So, like, I think that guys like Joe Rogan and guys like, we go down the list of people who are using this. We need to be careful when we're talking about this. I mean, it's a positive step in the right direction for our country as a whole, but it is certainly far from where we, the four of us, exist. And so the work is still yet to be done when it comes to actual conversion. So we need to be careful. Like, we need to be encouraged, but we need to be careful with what we're dealing with.
That's a good word, man. That's actually.
Thus concludes my TED Talk.
That's a great word. It's actually a good way to get us wrapped up. We've been going for a while here. Any final thoughts from anybody? Wes, I see you holding your microphone up there. What you got?
No, I think this is great. I'm excited for whatever fun thing you have at the end.
Right. Any final thoughts?
Yes. Catch 182. Look it up.
I'm going to as soon as
Hey.
it's
All
over.
the big things.
Will, what was the worst thing you got for Christmas? Don't say who gave it to you. Just say what it was.
Is this the one we're doing?
Box.
How about we rank? Everybody come up with your top 5 things of 2024. We're gonna
We didn't
force
do
rank
that,
them.
and that's gonna take way too long.
It sounds like you're scared.
It's another 30-minute segment.
Yeah, 100%.
Sounds like
It's
you're
okay.
scared.
We don't have to do worst Christmas presents either. That might offend some people. I wouldn't be able to say mine because I only got 2, and they would know.
Which one was the worst though?
No, I only got 2 total presents.
Yeah,
so.
which one didn't you like?
No, I can't say.
Was there one?
There was one, but I can't say it was.
Did Ryan give you one of those presents?
I was
Ryan's
gonna let
listening right now. I would encourage you not to say anything.
I can't talk about Ryan's present. No.
Show
You know
me
what, boys?
show me your 2 presents, and I'm gonna choose the one that I think you like the least.
No, they're not in the room, and Lottie will get all riled up if I get out of here. And I got sleeping families in the other room. But you know what? I think we've been culturally irrelevant long enough. Let's sign off and get out of here. America's systemic psychosis.
All right,
Book plug.
bring it back
Read it,
in.
baby.
Bring it back in.
Read it, baby.
I'll never be done.
Love you, boys.
Never mind, viewers, stay with us. We're going to talk about this book for the next hour.
Oh, the
Boys.
show?
I love you all, and we'll do this again soon.
All right, welcome to the after show, everybody that's stuck around.
Join us next week.
Top 5 Disney bears. Go.